Time for another edition of Hey Bobby with Senior VP of our Cleveland Guardians, Bobby DiBiasio, joining us here on 93.5 WAKR.net, 1590, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. Bobby, it was interesting to see Corey Kluber back with our Guardians organization. Boy, so many good times with Corey, 98 wins, 3.16 ERA, Cy Young Award winner. Those seasons of 2014, 2017 were just terrific, but now he's back with the organization. So talk about Corey. You often have told me people don't realize how good Corey Kluber was for us. Talk about Kluber with the Indians and now with the Guardians.
Pretty exciting news within the organization that a man like Corey Kluber gets back in uniform and as they truly try to figure out, Ray, what exactly his role will be. And he's so comfortable with that he's such a pro in all aspects. And one thing he did not want to do was to walk in and take over the job or duties of somebody who's already been here doing that job. So just adding another person with experience to our coaching staff can never hurt. We all think of him as a two-time Cy Young Award winner, of course, and how you go about achieving that pinnacle in the game of baseball as a pitcher, but he's also a three-time All-Star, pitched for 13 years, 9 years with us, 5 different teams. He thing that from the ages of 25 to 37. So the thing that's cool about him is, he wasn't one of these guys that was ticketed to be a Cy Young Award winner. You'd never heard his name when he was in the minor leagues as, oh, this guy, wait till you see, San Diego Padre, um, you know, guy, traded over to comes to us through that St. Louis 3-team trade with Jake Westbrook being our guy that we traded to St. Louis so they could go through their pennant stretch. And, Corey's a minor leaguer when we get him, not a lot of fanfare. And to his credit, he talked about, I wasn't a big leaguer. I wasn't a prospect. He goes, I had to go through the trials and tribulations of finding my way. And how do you become a big leaguer? I wasn't thinking all-star Cy Young. I was thinking, how do I make the big leagues? And I had difficulties along the way. And I think I can help young pitchers, who have that same sense about them, navigate through those issues. And then the one thing about him, what I always marveled at, what a workhorse he was. I mean, there was a 5-year period, I think it was when he was 28 to 32, somewhere in there, where he pitched more than 200 plus innings every year. And you don't see that nowadays. And that's a workhorse.
Mr. Feller would be proud of that statistic for sure.
Yes, indeed. Although Mr. Feller would add, well, he didn't pitch 300 innings like I did.
I remember interviewing a young Shane Bieber out in Arizona in the locker room one time, and I was talking to him because he had come up through Akron. And I was talking, what are you learning from the older guys? And he brought up Corey Kluber. And I wanted to bring this up today because Corey Kluber, to me, you know him better than I do, was not a demonstrative guy in the clubhouse. But what he did do is he led by example and showed you everything you needed to do. And this is what Shane Bieber told me, what you need to do to prepare for that next outing. And Bieber told me that's what he was picking up from Corey. And I imagine on down the line, that's where Corey Kluber is going to be really useful to these young pitchers.
You will hear it so often from pitching coaches, anybody involved in the game of baseball, that will tell you that the 4 days in between starts are just as important as the day you take the mound. And I think that's the discipline, work ethic, routine that Corey Kluber taught Shane Bieber and others and wants to instill in the pitchers that he communicates with as his role as a coach. Uh, all the guys would, when it was Corey Kluber's day in the bullpen, Bieber and the rest of them were out there watching. I mean, that's just part of it. It wasn't, hey, come watch me in the bullpen. It's they gravitated towards that bullpen just because it was his day and they needed to learn some of the things that he was doing. You know, he was labeled with um, the nickname Klubot because of that discipline and regimen and the routine. He did not like that nickname at all. He hated it, and um, but it did give you a true sense of his personality in the sense that not a demonstrative guy, but just straightforward, hardworking. All of a sudden, understood what it took. You know, and all of a sudden he's a two-time 18-game winner to win two Cy Youngs and lead the league and a 2.25 ERA and 17. Both times his 18 wins led the league in wins. Um, so, and then when his time is done, as most pitchers will find, there's just a certain number of innings in those shoulders and arms. It just happens that we end up trading him to Texas for a guy by the name of Emmanuel Clase, who's done pretty well for us.
He sure has. By the way, Kluber, lifetime ERA 3.44, not too shabby at all. With us is Senior VP of the Guardians, Bob DiBiasio with Hey Bobby. Bobby, the other name I wanted to bring up this morning is kind of like the forgotten all-star with us, who was so solid for a number of years, two-time all-star with us, man the hot corner. And when we didn't have a lot of offense going on there in that mid-'80s to early '90s, Brook Jacoby was a mainstay at the hot corner and also really led us offensively. And this is a guy that had some really good years for us. A lot of people forget about how good Brook Jacoby was.
One of my all-time favorites. What a nice guy. Like Corey Kluber, durable, uh, quiet. Jake was a Ventura, California kid, so he had that California quiet, attitude about himself, but went on the field and was able to get the job done. Two-time All-Star. Um, he the 2 years he was an All-Star, he had in '86 had 17 homers and 80 some RBIs, and then he hit 32 homers in 1990, and only drove in, I think, 70 with 32 homers. So not many guys getting on base in front of him, but played a good, solid third base when Joe Carter, Corey Snyder, and he were the middle of the lineup. A couple years, they all had 30 homers. You're right, they were our offense at that time, and I always look at Jake and felt good about the fact that guys who worked their butts off, one of the things that he did from like 85 to 90, so that's about 6 straight years, he played more than 150 plus games every year. I mean, talk about durability and posting up. They a lot of times the cliche in sports is the best ability is availability.
Right. Right.
Posting up, the durability. And Jake had that. He showed up every day, played hard, and no matter who was managing us at that time, could pencil in his name in the lineup and get it done. Then he comes back and gets an opportunity to play for us um, one more time in '92. But always helped us at fantasy camp and those things. So just certainly a fan favorite.
Two-time All-Star, 1986 and 1990, Brook Jacoby. And as Bobby mentioned, a mainstay at the hot corner there for a number of years before this other young guy took over for him over there, Jim Tomey. So there you go, another edition of Hey Bobby with Senior VP of the Guardians, my good friend Bob DiBiasio. Bob will do it again coming up next week. Hey, before I let you go, let's remind people we got the Dodgers yet coming up this afternoon at 1:10. And this weekend, you got the other team from LA that's playing pretty good baseball, the Angels, coming in.
An LA homestand, and you're right, the LA Angels. I mean, we just leave Detroit, where we had a great series. I mean, we really needed to turn things around after a tough weekend in Cincinnati. So we win 3 out of 4 against the Tigers, who have the best record in baseball. And then you come home to the Dodgers, who are one of the top teams in baseball record-wise. And then the LA Angels, who are on fire right now. But as we sit here going into the month of June, what did we talked about? We talked about our division's going to be a 4-team race, and that's holding true. I mean, the Twins went 16-3 or something over some stretch to keep themselves in it after a really tough start, and everybody thinking Rocco was going to lose his job. But as we get into the final 4 months of the baseball season, heading into June, this is going to be a fun division. All 4 of us have a chance to win this thing, and boy, it's going to be a great ride.
And to Bobby's point, slowly but surely, Kansas City, too, is playing some really good baseball. They've got their act together out there, and he's right. You've got our Guardians, Detroit with the best record, and then you've got Kansas City and Minnesota looming there as well. It's going to be a lot of fun this summer at the old ballpark. Bobby, thanks as always, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Ray. Always fun. Go Guardians.